Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. I regret to report that both our Jedi Order and the Republic have fallen, with the dark shadow of the Empire rising to take their place. This message is a warning and a reminder for any surviving Jedi. Trust in the Force.
They've outgrown their age of rebellion, dulled the Empire's edge, defeated Imperial generals and the Pirate Queen's dredge. They've been soldiers and scoundrels, what's there left to be? How about lost acolytes looking for their force and destiny? There's a seer, hermit, investigator, and teacher. Better watch your back or a vibe or ring's gonna reach you. Will this team find the light or will darkness win the day? Find out with the heroes of the Hydian Way.
Welcome to Heroes of the Hydian Way. This is a Star Wars actual play podcast, and we're playing in Fantasy Flight Games' Force and Destiny system, using the Chronicles of the Gatekeeper adventure as developed by Tim Cox and Max Brook. And this is Khesh's Force Vision for Act 1. I'm Ben, the GM for this adventure.
I'm Ren, and I play Skip Goby, the Color and Seeker Hermit. And don't worry, there is no chance that I am giving Gudge to Khesh.
But I would take good care of him.
You'd probably try to eat him.
What?
I mean...
Okay, maybe. If I was hungry.
Yeah,
I'm Khesh, the Trandoshan Mystic Seer. Definitely don't eat. Well, what is Gudge again?
He's a Surfray.
Right, that.
And I am Hillary, Consular Teacher. I, for one, will not allow Khesh to consume my new best friend. And you can tell that he's my best friend by the way he comes to me while I have this little bag of treats that my dead friend Skip gave me.
Wow.
Are you okay, Hillary?
Anybody notice that Hillary's been in a weird mood?
Of course I'm okay. There's nothing to worry about. Everything's fine.
I know, he keeps looking over at Gudge, like, expecting Gudge to go to him, which is really strange.
Well, as Koba, the Sentinel investigator, I've been to a few places on investigations, and I do have to admit, in Ord Mantell, there's this little dive that, if you have the right cook, they make pretty decent sarfray.
What?
Like fritters. It's really not bad.
Okay, now I'm interested in eating Gudge.
I'm gonna leave this ship.
I don't know how to fritter. Well, metaphorically, I know how to fritter. Culinarily, I do not know how to fritter. But I could learn.
No.
On things other than Gudge, we might like a frittered mushroom. You don't know.
The camera comes down onto Khesh as they're minding their business on the silvered shell. The sense and humidity of Arboine presses upon them as the camera focuses in on Khesh's face as they prepare for the launch of the ship. It zooms, presses in and in on Khesh's eye. Then it's like the reflections in Khesh's eye shift and change, and then the camera comes out, and you can see Khesh dressed to be out in the woods.
I think the outfit is consisting of a number of like hides and leathers, a little bit more natural than the armor and robes we had seen her wearing just a moment before. And in her clawed hands is a long slug thrower rifle. Looks like it's pretty high caliber, and it is shaped for Trandoshan claws.
Going with Khesh is another Trandoshan, a greenish-yellow one that seems to have somewhat more robed look to them. The outfit definitely has a coating on it to make sure that it doesn't get completely drenched in the humidity and light rainfall that's happening. But it isn't made out of hides, it's cloth, really. Dangling from their high-waisted belt is what looks to be the hilt of a sword, with a slight pommel guard on it. And otherwise, it doesn't look like the companion to Khesh has any weapons upon them.
Hate to break it to you, but you brought the wrong gear for a hunt.
Well, it's always interesting to see what you can find on one of these hunts.
I find it depends on what you're looking for. Khesh says as she is actually looking over the rifle, making sure that it's loaded with practice calls. If you're going to come with, try to keep up.
To keep up. Good one. At which point, this Trandoshan jumps up onto a moderately hanging branch and starts trying to look ahead. Do you know where the trail is supposed to go? Or have you cut their scent yet?
Nothing quite that close, but there are a few signs. She approaches where we see a bit of a divot in the forest floor and a couple of broken branches, as it looked like something pretty large moved through here fairly gracefully for a creature of its size. It's a start.
And a start is what we need. If you would be so kind.
And Khesh starts to move forward. I think we get a shot of her clawed, scaly bare feet, sort of moving now with more practiced, careful steps as she is falling into old patterns.
As Khesh continues to follow the trail that is left by this large animal, or at least what we're assuming is an animal, the other Trandoshan has been jumping from tree branch to tree branch to tree branch in a very anime-ish way. They're keeping up with Khesh, and they're not getting too far away from Khesh, actually. Each jump is where Khesh is going. When this other Trandoshan is talking, it's never really more than, talking. There's no yelling that's needed. It is always interesting to be with one on quest.
Are you another one of her messengers?
Messengers? Maybe. But I have definitely seen the path that she likes to carve. And it is very winding and hard to track.
Things aren't as straightforward as, as the young would think.
It never is.
You got a name?
Skier. And you?
I'm Khesh.
It is good to meet you. It is always rare to find someone with gifts and knowledge of the goddess.
I see you have gifts of your own. Either that or you're just a really good jumper.
Well, maybe a bit of both. I've found that my training is very much to track and to make sure that those who are with me do not stray too far from the path laid out.
I know what this is about.
Oh?
This is about Markov. Isn't it? I tried to kill him.
That does sound like some form of prey.
No, another predator.
With what we are capable of, it is predators that turn into our prey. But is Markov what you were actually searching for?
No, she says, a bit confused, her brow furrowing.
As Khesh's brow furrows, this is the point where I am thinking Skier drops down next to Khesh with as much of a smirk as a Trandoshan can. So, a pretty big one. They look up and just point with one taloned claw, drawing Kesh's eyes up. As Khesh looks, now you see 3 tentacles descending from the trees and are wrapping around both Skier and Khesh.
I think in the struggle, Khesh drops the rifle and she digs her claws into the tendrils, trying to make the creature release her and Skier. And if it's feeling anything at all, it's ignoring it.
As one becomes distracted, one can get pulled off of their path.
Says the one doing the distracting.
But isn't there always someone around? The last I had seen, you were a pack hunter.
You're referring to my companions as a pack?
Are they not?
Maybe in a sense, but a proper pack shares the same goals.
And what makes you think that you don't?
Khesh is silent, and not just because the tendril's trying to wrap up around her throat.
Would this be a good time for them to be, I don't know if rescued is a good term, but...
I agree. I agree. We've talked about them now. I think this is a good introduction for somebody.
I'm figuring either Koba or Skip. Because Hillary, I'm kind of like to save for towards the end. Because there's a special lesson with Hillary.
I'm happy to go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Describe the shot, assume that you hit and are distracting Yon, a boreal octopus.
Mm-hmm. So, upon mention of your pack, I suppose I'm using air quotes here, you see out of the corner of your eye Skip, who is hunched down and is rather comically looking, trying to sneak. Looks over at you and puts their finger to their mouth, like in that universal be quiet sort of motion. And crouches down and really just very clearly looks like overconfident and probably a little sloppy. Leans over, holds up their trank gun with a big smile, like big goofy smile. Shoots it. Before the results of the shot even kind of are evident, Skip stands up straight, no longer even attempting subterfuge. The shot does hit the octopus, but it rears up in anger. It clearly didn't do much good. Starts roaring, just in anger and annoyance. Oh well, I tried. I've got somewhere else to be. Have fun! And just kind of like saunters off. Useless. As usual.
I think that was harsh.
Look, Skip has protagonist things to do.
Now, see, this is Dream Skip anyway.
Stream Skip and...
This is highly exaggerated Skip.
This is obviously, I'm guessing somehow Khesh might
Skip
subconsciously view Skip, whether she'll admit it to herself or not.
As Skip disappears into the forest, Gudge turns around and shoots a little salute. Work. And they keep going.
Gudge just actually says Mark, though, in the vision.
Yeah.
So when this octopus creature is hit and it roars, are we still like grabbed by it? Are we in danger still? What's the result here, Ben?
I'm thinking as it rears up and actually does start pulling Khesh a bit closer to its beaked jaw, Skier's going to be saying, Well, they aren't much of a pack if you think of them that way. How about how they have actually been?
I'm a little preoccupied right now to give that a ton of thought. Why don't you make use of that sword of yours and get us out of this? Or are you equally as useless? I think I have a good metaphorical thing we can do here, Ben.
Okay.
I'm thinking we do, we had Skip appear, and unless we need Koba to show up versus the same exact creature, I'm thinking we do have Skier maybe, hurt the creature, make it release us, and then Khesh goes to, grab her rifle to shoot it, even as it starts to retreat, and Skier kind of steps in the way, we had to defend ourselves, what's the point of killing it?
So, as the octopus is bringing Khesh in close, Khesh saying how useless Skier is, you'll hear Skier just laugh as much as a Trandoshan does. I'm assuming Khesh is focused almost entirely on the beak that is getting closer and closer to Khesh so the arboreal octopus can start snacking on Khesh.
Very focused.
You hear the whoom slice, and then all of a sudden you're dropping. You're able to do the 3-point superhero landing right next to your gun. There's Skier not 5 feet away.
Khesh grabs up the rifle immediately, turning towards the octopus, which we see after that hum. It has a cut on its side and is starting to move away rather than charging, but Khesh holds the rifle tight and is aiming.
Deep breath.
This is a good-sized octopus. It definitely would be eating on a Silhouette 1 person. Probably think of Silhouette 0 as like a snack. It is something truly amazing to see as the octopus's tentacles are going out, grabbing onto a tree trunk, and just, it's not swinging, it almost is swimming through the trees at 40 feet up. Skier just reaches over onto the barrel and looks at Khesh, giving a push down on it, absolutely messing up Kesh's aim. And it's what is the point? Revenge?
It attacked us.
We were in its territory.
Could attack us again or someone else.
What use is to killing it? It is a predator here.
It's a danger.
So are we. So was that frog person that showed up.
Kalaran.
Everything is a danger. But if you are aware...
Khesh doesn't raise the rifle back up, but we can see quite a bit of tension in her shoulders. She's frustrated. And what if it goes on to hurt someone else?
If that someone else is in their territory, it is a natural hazard. We cannot take out all of the predators. Otherwise, the prey will overrun everything. And death, life, it is all part of the same continuum. We try and make it safer, but we cannot hold every being's hand.
Then how do we know when to intervene and when not to? When to take the shot and when not to? Or is that why you don't carry a gun? That way you never have to be tempted?
Oh, I have taken a great many of shots. And many of them have rung true. But with what I carry, it is not an easy first strike that can happen. Though, as they reach out with a clawed hand at pretty much full extension, gives a bit of a wink and lifts up a small-ish boulder. Sometimes what you have around you is all that you need. And the boulder then clatters back to the ground. Now, where did that one-armed Gundark go?
Yeah, the trail's gonna get cold if we don't move on.
Indeed.
Khesh brings the rifle back into the relaxed pose, gives the arboreal octopus one last look as it's vanishing higher up into the canopy. She continues on the trail.
As they continue along the path, Skier is no longer up in the branches. They're now fairly close, like almost following in Khesh's wake, as Khesh is following the beast that seems to be Khesh's prey. But as that's going on, the texture of the forest changes. It goes from a very wet, broadleaf kind of jungle to something with a lot more, looks to be a bit more northern. The trees have switched out for pine needles for leaves instead of big, broad ones. It looks like the ground has a lot less ground cover with it. What is there seems to be a lot hardier, with more actual trunk-like to it instead of just broad leaves.
I think as the transition happens, our camera pulls back from Khesh's face, and we see that her outfit has changed as well. She's wearing the thick robes that she was when they reached Arbuine, and the rifle in her hand, she realizes after a moment, is now a familiar-looking staff with markings up and down the shaft. She adjusts her grip and sticks the butt of it on the ground, much as we see her normally using it.
Now, what is it that you are searching again? I know that we are chasing this Gundark, and at that point you can hear the roar in the distance of a fairly large being off in the sunward direction.
Is that not target enough for you?
Well, or is it but another distraction? Shall we see? And at that point, Skier charges ahead in almost a direct line to the direction where the roar was coming from.
Khesh starts to run after. We actually see whenever there's a particularly large, trunk or a gap or things like that, we actually see her jumping some decent distances of her own, although nowhere near as impressive as Skier's yet.
Skier and Khesh get to be over at the top of a ridge line, rolling hills kind of thing. Looking down, you can see through the trees, there's still a lot of underbrush there, so it's a little hard to see, but you can see a very large red being that you can mostly see the head, but as they're moving around, they are giving off shrieks as they are seeming to stumble a bit, making their way downhill, down through this valley between hills.
Khesh, perhaps still not learning the lesson, immediately starts looking for a way down off of this ridge so she can pursue.
It's relatively easy going for Khesh and Skier to get down. You're able to get to within, I'd say, long range of seeing this beast, and the beast itself is a Gundark. As Skier and Khesh getting close, you do see that, at least from what you can easily see, their head and upper shoulders are above the bramble and bushes.
Mm-hmm.
And from there you can see a healed over stump on the left arm. the right one is swinging around, trying to seemingly clear something.
So as the Gundark saunters around wherever it's sauntering, probably towards some kind of high-pitched noise that maybe only Gundark can hear, or at least of the people here, only Gundarks can hear. They have bad eyes and good ears, so, distraction. They tread across some dense underbrush, and with a snap and the sound of uncoiling wires, several tethers are loosed and curl around the Gundark's legs, securing them to some large, venerable trees nearby that hopefully the Gundark is not strong enough to actually do anything about. As the Gundark struggles to free itself from being kind of tethered in place, we see Koba emerge from behind a different set of rocks, I guess, revolver first, and start to kind of move in on the Gundark.
Finally, someone who understands what this is really about, Khesh says as she pops up from behind the underbrush. I take it that was your trap?
Of course it was my trap.
And a very effective trap it is.
Gets the job done.
And which job is that? Collecting this for relocation?
No, I'd need a little more of a team for acquisition. Not really my deal. I'm mostly good at removing things like this.
See? Or are you going to tell me I shouldn't kill this thing either?
Why would I do that?
Not you. Him.
But what is the reason to kill this Gundark?
Have you ever gone hunting before? So I'm not quite sure you know how it works.
Gundark meat is very tough and not wonderfully appetizing. I would think something that is trapped like this is no use as an actual predator. It is a guard, is it not?
I mean, I just trapped it. It's not to guard anything. That was me trapping it, I think. Anyway, I don't want to eat it. I just have to deliver the pelt. That's all. You ever wonder why this Gundark only has one arm? That's missing 3, not missing 2.
No, I knew that. Are you... Who are you explaining this to?
I don't know either of you, really.
Oh no, we're gonna get a monologue, aren't we? Khesh starts moving closer to where the Gundark is tied down. And she no longer has a rifle to make this easy.
Mm-hmm.
She takes the staff in both hands, and it looks like she wants to attack, but she finds herself hesitating. And then she lowers the staff down. Like this, it's not really a fair fight, is it?
Trapped? Never is. This one can be delivered so that its revenge can be happened, or that revenge can happen upon it. For if I were to guess, I would say that the limbs that it has lost is from a hunt, that the hunter was lucky to escape.
Tragedy. And regret.
I'm guessing the pelt in question was just adorn someone's wall.
Is that not what trophies are for?
Oh, good golly.
But your friend does seem to know what they are capable of doing very, very well.
He does his research. He thinks, he doesn't just act. Rare commodity these days. It's funny how can feel perfectly justified in killing one predator and then feel sympathy for another.
Isn't it the time at which you find the predator? Here, with him bound like this, what is the point? At this, it is merely stealing a trophy. And it's at that point where you hear off in the distance a Gundark's yell, like just a sheer bellow in the distance, and this one bellows back.
Aww.
Sometimes there are variables that are not always apparent.
At that, Khesh looks back at the Gundark.
What Koba, Skier, and Khesh all hear is a Gundark's wail. These are silhouette tube beings. You can hear the galloping of hands, feet, hands, feet, hands, feet of this Gundark coming in.
Khesh turns, and there's not a sharp part of the staff, is there?
Yeah,
Just a
there's
stick, right?
claws at one end.
So she's going to lift up the staff, but instead of striking the Gundark, she's going to sever the lines that are tying it,
Okay.
and then back off, getting ready to defend herself as the other one comes running in.
I'm assuming everyone hides behind, like, tree trunks.
Sure.
Skier also is pulled their lightsaber hilt into hand and is waiting there. On the second Gundark, you can see this Gundark is black in color. It has a little bit of throat puffery that is red. On the left shoulder, it's got 3 what look almost to be scars that they're discolored to whitish, maybe a little gray. As you're looking at this huge Gundark that's there, just sort of now also swiping at the lines that are holding this slightly smaller red one, you can see shimmering around its throat a collar, kind of a cross between a collar and a necklace. It's loose, but it's not really a necklace. It's like a loose chain around its neck.
Okay.
That is an interesting thing for a Gundark to have.
What exactly is it?
It is your quest. Should you not know? Maybe your friend does.
Well, is that going to Koba, or is this the point for the Hillary introduction?
I'm thinking that eyes will at least turn to Koba and see if Koba knows.
Okay.
I'm mostly focused on how we have to fight 2 of them now.
It wasn't a fair fight. Now at least the numbers are closer.
Yeah, the numbers are, but the intent is still there. Now, what is the quest? Is the quest for pelts? The quest for clearing out dangers such as these?
No. The reason I came to Arboine is knowledge. Looking for answers.
And what knowledge have you found on Arboine?
Not a criffing thing.
Is that so?
Khesh closes her eyes, racking her brain, thinking back through her different interactions. I learned or relearned the lesson of what happens if a leader abuses their power. I learned Hillary and I don't always see eye to eye. And to think about the bigger picture.
Oh, another of your pack.
And Khesh turns.
Are the 4 of you on the same quest? And with that, that's when I figure Hillary is going to do Hillary things to come in.
I figure Khesh is peering intensely into the distance, possibly watching the Gundarks, crouched over slightly, and Hillary just kind of appears next to her. What are we doing?
Thinking.
Oh, I know you don't like that.
No, not one bit.
What is the goal?
In general, or this specific situation?
Well, I would say this specific situation would probably need to be handled before we assume there will be more, considering... Well, he gestures to the Gundarks.
We need to get that collar off of the black one.
I see. How's that been going?
Well, this is going to sound very out of character, but I don't want to kill it. It's only trying to free its friend.
Well,
So, I'm out of ideas.
friendship is... It's a bit of a journey, right? He smiles, blindingly up at you. And then he winks.
You would know better than most.
But how about we approach it with a bit more style?
Oh no.
Don't worry. Koba told me where we were, and that's how I found you, and that's wonderful. But even better is I ran into Skip, and Skip gave me this. And he holds up a little pouch of food, which is not unlike the Gudge treats. How do you feel about being bait?
Not good, but I trust you. I'll do it.
He pats your face with the free hand very gingerly. That's good.
Which is just like
because-
adorable because your hand is like so tiny compared to her.
That's good that you trust me, because you know what? You're pretty okay yourself. But hold tight. You'll know the signal. And he does little finger guns as he backs away.
Khesh looks at Skier, says, I hate this. And he's going to get up from behind the cover. And as she's doing so, she reaches out with her gift, and a much smaller rock than the one that Skier had lifted earlier, like flies out just at foot level for the large Gundark, just sort of like ping off of it to get its attention, not really intending to hurt it.
It'll do the up on four limbs, its middle limbs wrapped around its belly, and sort of sniffing, looking, trying to figure out where that rock came from. You can see something hanging from this chain around its neck that's glittering or like shining light.
Khesh grabs another rock, sort of flings it again at that ground level, just making noise and like a visual for it to latch onto at this point. I'm right here.
Christine,
Yeah?
how would you feel if Hillary brought a little bit of the show business he's always talking about into the scene?
Go for it. Be Hillary.
Alright, so as you step out, and you haven't been noticed by the Gundark yet, but you're definitely, pulling its attention, you see a little flash of light happen behind the Gundark, and hear a little psh, and there's a line that goes up from the ground. And then all of a sudden you see Hillary rising from the ground like he's on a trapeze wire. And he is wearing full circus gear. It's his usual suit, but it is 100% sequined. It is glittering like a disco ball. And he winks at you and whistles.
I really need to find a new pack.
I don't know. This pack seems to be entertaining, at least. And they do things. Sometimes unexpected things, but they do things somewhat well.
And things that I either wouldn't do or wouldn't think of. Like sequins.
And, okay, so is Hillary now, like, catching the chain, or what?
Oh, no, he is rising, waiting for Khesh to do something to attract attention with the food. The whistle was the signal.
Okay. So you gave the bag of food to me? Is that what we're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's why you're
So
bait.
then Khesh, then for the third item, sending towards the Gundark, will be the bag of food. Depositing it, giving the Gundark something to smell and sort of draw it into position.
The Gundark is now lowered their head towards the ground and is pawing at the bag, trying to figure out how to rip it open. It's kind of small for them, so it's turning into a bit of a puzzle box for them.
Okay. So, from the branch behind, Hillary locks eyes with you, and you see him mouth, "I trust you." And then he swings down from a trapeze, and then flips up, does a couple of spins midair, and lands directly on the shoulders of the Gundark, and starts trying to work the collar open.
Khesh tenses again and looks like her immediate response would be to go on the offensive for fear of your safety, but she manages to stop herself at the last second, waiting for the right moment in case she needs to, but letting Hillary do his thing.
I'm figuring that Hillary's able to get the chain off of the Gundark, but as soon as that irritation's no longer there, the Gundark realizes that Hillary's is there and starts doing the somewhat classic thing of trying to smash whatever's on their back into everything around them.
Khesh reaches out, but instead of hurling something towards the Gundark, she's going to try to grab Hillary with the force and pull him off of the Gundark's back, bringing him towards her.
I mean, I am your glittery disco ball friend, to be moved as you will.
Yeah.
All right, as Hillary drops to the ground, the chain is a large, thick one that the chain looks somewhat like a timing belt of all things. It looks to be more mechanical than just a necklace, now that you're actually able to see it up close.
Mm-hmm.
Dangling from it, you can see a crystal, much like ones that you've seen before. As you look at it, as Hillary looks at it, as I'm assuming Koba's still there and is looking at it, and even from the shadows, Skip looking at it, the light from it continues to grow and grow and grow. Not in a way that you think that it's a bomb or anything, but it's like the luminescence of it just keeps on growing from it. And the last thing you see is Skier giving you a salute with their lightsaber hilt and then vanishing into the bright light. The camera comes back from that flash of light, that complete whiteout. We see Khesh on the silvered shell, limply falling back into a chair.
All right. Is it conflict time?
Yes, it is. And now we do the conflict for Khesh. Khesh is starting out this with 10 conflict from
10
the last one.
conflict! My number 47 can't go up. It could only stay the same or go down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Khesh drew on some dark side, did some not good things.
No, drew on a lot of dark side. Like, a lot of that is force used. Let's be honest here.
Oh yeah, a lot of it is. So let me roll my d10 and let's see which direction. Well, let's see how far she drops, rather. Yep, there it was! I rolled a 1, which is funny because we joked about that earlier, and I knew D1 was going to do this to me when the time came, so that'll be, her morality is going to go down by 9, reaching 38.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Heroes of the Hydian Way. You can find show updates on Twitter at The Hydian Way, and you can find me, Ben, on Twitter at Deuterium Ice.
Hey there, you can find me, Ren, at Atomic Firebird on Twitter, or if you want my streaming updates, you can go find me at Make Believe Info.
You can find me on Twitter at 12th Night. That's 12th and Night with a K.
You can find your Disco Glitterball friend at LesletGS.
And me at Blue of the Kin, or if you want to check out my Star Trek actual play, where Christine also is, at Endeavor Show.
And we are all at theheidiandway.com, where you can find previous episodes.
And you can find more episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Plus, you can really help us out by rating, reviewing, and subscribing.
We're also on Facebook as The Heidian Way. You can holocom us at heroes@theheidianway.com.
If you like what we do and want to support the show, hop on over to patreon.com/theheidianway.
Or you can re-up the dues on your Gundark hunting license at ko-fi.com/theheidianway.
Nice.
Nice. All right.
It's
Frog.
What's a frog?
a frog is a different species. Trust me on this.
Skip
What,
pops
next?
back out of the woods. I'm okay with Frog.
What, next you're going to tell me that they're getting in friendships with Mandalorians?
Now that's just crazy talk.
Since not everyone innately knows what a Gundark looks like. They're amazingly Doug-like.
Oh, they also live in trees, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're also like Silhouette 2 reddish giant guys that have an extra set of limbs and a tail.
Wait a minute, and this is a one-armed Gundark, so what happened to the other three?
Yeah, I wanted to snark about
Dark
that
days,
when
my friend.
that was
Dark
dropped in there,
days.
but I was like, nah, I'll snark later. Now I wonder what Khesh thinks about how Koba's monologue sound. It's like, it was a dark day on Malastare. In a dark
And then it
cantina.
devolves. It devolves into like it grows pretty faint
Yeah.
as Khesh is thinking about other things and ignoring what Koba's saying.
The dark Gundark sauntered into the alley darkly with a dark purpose.
I mean, I still think Koba knows more than one word.
Shadows
I,
and rain fall. Both.
No.
Shadow
as
rain.
that's happening in the background, do it, be Guillory.
You're doing so well, too.
I've been doing so well. Be Hillary.
It's because you did that sample roll for me earlier and blew your better number.
I did. I rolled a 9 when I was trying to show Leslie how to roll the poly.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So Khesh is, her morality has gone way, way down. She is within spitting distance of falling to the dark side if she doesn't change course.
Exactly. But I'm also thinking that Khesh actually does have a chance of changing course. But also, we're going into a vastly different jungle than Arbuine.
Too true. It's going to be interesting with her.
So Act 2 is going to be called Jungle to Jungle? Is that?
Oh, good golly.
Is that?